I said, "Where's the sheet music?" And Miss Devin Dawson said, "We don't play with sheet music, honey." And my mind was blown.
How on earth did you, at 7 years old, pick the accordion?
So I was in school assemblies and a man played for our school. So when my birthday was coming up and I spat off an accordion, my parents, they were like, "Are you sure?"
By the time most kids were worried about homework, she was headlining bars she wasn't even old enough to get into.
I played big balls in Cowtown in the stockyards. My parents would drive me up there, and of course they had to be in there with me. I released an album at 16.
And then she did what every Texas musician dreams of, a face 20 feet tall at ACL.
My face really huge on the screen. It was wild. You turn around with an accordion, you can practically see people thrown inside like, oh no. And my favorite thing is changing their mind.
Yeah.
But even the most confident performers can feel the pull when something feels off inside.
Doubts about myself.
Yeah, especially being an artist.
Oh my gosh, it's horrible. I think that it was an internal alarm going like, hey, you need to be true to yourself.
Only Ginny Mac could break down in Turkey, Texas, and still end up sharing a sunset with a chicken and a blues broadcast.
A chicken is staring at me, walks over, jumps up onto my fence, jumps in the tree right above me, and just listens to Blue Monday with Mike Buck as the sun goes down.
They say Texas has characters. Texas says, meet Ginny Mac.
Howdy, y'all. We've got a huge day today. I'm so excited to have Ginny Mac with us. She is a Texas born and bred musician, multi-talented young lady who is an accordion player, among other things. I'm so excited to have you here, Ginny. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, accordion. When people think about accordions, I think of the German polka players, a big fat guy with suspenders on. Maybe a really pretty blonde German girl with 3 giant mugs of beer in each hand.
Woo.
How on earth did you, at 7 years old, pick the accordion?
So I was in, how they have school assemblies?
Yeah.
So I'm in elementary school and a man played for our school one afternoon. And it just kind of was one of those things that stuck in my head. So when my birthday was coming up that summer, my parents asked me what I wanted, and I spat off an accordion, which is bizarre. But my parents
Not a
are
puppy,
really
not a pony.
cool. I know. And they were like, "Are you sure?" So they rolled with it, and they found me an accordion, put me in lessons, and the rest is history.
So you grew up here in Fort Worth.
I did.
And are you siblings?
Yes, I have a younger brother,
Are your
Glenn.
parents musical?
No, not a lick.
Not a lick. So I've heard of you before and I've heard your music, but last week I got the privilege of seeing you play with a little trio, and I was so impressed seeing you live and seeing you work with these really cool musicians. Tell me from the beginning, how did you start as a kid playing the accordion? Did you take piano lessons? How does that work?
Right. Well, my parents pulled out the trusty old phone book like we did back in the day, and they found a music teacher that taught accordion in Hearst, Euless, Bedford. And so my parents took me to lessons every Tuesday, and I started on classical repertoire, actually. So she was a wonderful lady, Mrs. Lorraine Turneau. She's passed away, but she taught piano, she taught guitar, she taught violin, she taught accordion.
Wow.
And so I was learning anything you could imagine a pianist would learn. I was learning adapted for accordion.
How do you do that?
Right. So she was teaching me to read music as a kid. And I was on the Palmer Hughes pathway. So it's a particular curriculum that they design for study for, I started at book 1, right?
Okay.
But I was studying classical music, and my interest in improvisation didn't come until a little later, but that's how I began in music.
So you're a kid and you start taking lessons in accordion. Do you cross over and take piano lessons too, or were you just straight accordion when you started?
So that's a really good question. Mostly people think I started on piano and then gravitated to the accordion. It was completely the other way around. But my little brother always wanted to do everything that I did. So when he saw sister taking accordion lessons, he wanted to play music and we got a piano. So he was in piano lessons, I was in accordion lessons, but since there was a piano in the house and the instruments are derivative, I
Yeah.
started tinkering around on the piano, and that naturally led to adding those lessons for me as well.
So here's a dumb guy question. So the 62,000 buttons on the side, what do those do?
Okay. 62,021. No, I'm just kidding.
It's like there's a lot. I watch you play. I'm like, how does she even know where to go?
So there's 120 on mine. They function, I mean, the best way that I could think to describe it is it's a bass function.
Oh, okay.
Um, you can also think of it as just a really compact version of the left side of the piano keyboard.
Okay.
So you're a one-man band, just
Mm,
like a pianist. And so I have bass notes, but I also have individual notes that play triads, they're chords.
gotcha.
So I can accompany myself over there.
Well, so that looks like it's really heavy. Is it pretty heavy? And then you have to have a lot of arm strength to.
Uh-huh. I chose to play a full size. Mine is a Scandali Super 6 compact. It's a ladies model, but it's still 24 pounds.
Wow.
And that's about as much as I can handle. I've played accordions that are 35, 40 pounds. I mean,
What did you start out on as
oh,
a little 7-year-old kid?
I know, right? I started on a tiny 12 bass accordion, which I still have. I
Okay.
held on to my first one, but it is, I mean, it is so small. And yet when I was 7 years old, it dwarfed me.
Yeah, I bet.
It was big. Yeah. I was a little teeny thing.
So then you're 7 years old. Kind of walk me through younger age, middle school, high school. What happened? I know you said to me, you started playing in nightclubs at like 13 years old.
Mm-hmm. I did. Yeah. So what happened? I was studying classical music on my instruments and also voice. I was in voice lessons, so I was studying classical voice. I studied Broadway and pop tunes and country music.
Okay.
My heart was in Patsy Cline and George
Mm,
Jones and George Strait. You know,
yeah.
I liked classic country and then of course some modern country artists, but I was really into Texas music. I didn't play that music, but I sang it. And
Oh, okay.
so I was walking through the stockyards one day and came across this group, the Cattown Opry. They were a nonprofit 501(c)(3) organization that was dedicated to Texas heritage music, and they had a youth program.
Oh, wow.
So I signed up, and this was where a whole other genre of music
How old were you
entered my
then
life. I was 12.
12?
So this
So you were playing
was
classical up
Mhm.
till then. Any pop tunes or anything that you like grew up with
Oh,
that you like?
yeah. I mean, I loved, music my parents were listening to. So I listened to Billy Joel and
Okay,
Queen.
cool.
Yeah, those were a couple of my favorites, but Elton John, I
Yeah.
liked that kind of stuff too, and I liked singing it. Um, but then when I met the Cats on Opry folks, I learned about silver screen cowboy music, Western swing.
Yeah, so tell me
Yeah.
what for our audience, what is Western swing?
Oh, okay. Hello. So, it's music from I mean, really, Fort Worth is a huge hub for the
Mhm.
birthplace, of Western swing when we start talking about Crystal Springs Dance Hall Pavilion,
Yeah.
way back in the
Yeah.
day, and it's a very danceable kind of music, it was born out of this it's like a blend if you wanna think of it as big band and
Mm,
jazz, and it's bringing in hillbilly
yeah.
and fiddle music, and so you've got kind of a touch of the old world. A lot of the old Western swing melodies were taken from old European, old world
Yeah.
melodies,
Yeah. So
waltzes and jigs and things that they just adapted to kind of, like, chill them out, swing them up, and make them danceable in a different way. So,
It's really interesting to me to hear that, and especially with you as an accordion player, and then being in Texas
mhm.
with the Tex-Mex influence, kind of the Tejano music that uses it has seems like it has a lot of German oompa kind of influence to it, polka almost. So,
Sure.
what was the most attractive thing to you about Texas swing?
I really liked that it was peppy and that you could improvise to it.
Improvise,
Oh
okay.
yeah. Um, when I first was when I joined the Cowtown Opry, I was just singing. I didn't bring my instruments. And then they started encouraging me to bring my accordion. And I showed up the first time with my instrument and I said, "Where's the sheet music?" And Miss Devin Dawson said, "We don't play with sheet music, honey."
We didn't need no
Like,
badges.
yeah, and we're about to do Deep in the Heart of Texas, and my
Okay.
mind was blown because I didn't understand, wow, there's a whole world of people playing by
Yeah.
ear. People hear when the chord changes and they make something up over it. I mean, it was just that's all I wanted to do once I figured out that was a thing.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
so my God rest his soul, Steve Swander, my old attorney, his
Uh-huh.
parents wrote that song Deep in the Heart of
Oh.
Texas, so that's always one of my favorite things. So tell me, so Cowtown Opry, and how often are you there, like, as a kid? You're 12
Oh.
years old, you're there every week or
No, not at
multiple t
first. So they had the 3rd Sunday of the month was the Buckaroo Club, so that was for kids under 18. You would show up, they would have some kind of a lesson or a guest speaker, because it's a mentoring program. So we would learn a little bit, usually a rehearsal for the kids to do the song that we were gonna do, and then we would get out to the train station and perform in public.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
The
how cool.
Cowtown Opry shows were from 2 to 3 on Sundays.
Oh, wow. So you and
And
how many
yeah,
kids are out there performing?
there could be anywhere from maybe 8 to a dozen on any Sunday, sometimes more, but that was about the
Wow.
average, the other kids to play with and sing with, and it was so much fun.
So, we try to gear a lot of this towards younger people who are growing up and going through stuff. So, a lot of parents have what I call a reality check thing that they do, and I kind of cross it over to their dream killers. Go get a real job. That's not going to pay. Don't even mess around with that.
Mm,
What were the cool things that your parents did to help encourage this? Because you're really, really good. I mean, really good.
thank you.
And so, did you have any obstacles from your parents, or what did they do to help you?
No, I mean, they were incredibly supportive because, you'll hear the fable of the stage parent, and
Mhm.
my parents were not like that at all. They were more like, "Well, we're gonna be supporters and chauffeurs." I mean, they just said, "Hey, this is what she's into. She's passionate about it. She's getting opportunities. Let's just get her there." I
Yeah,
mean, they were very, very supportive.
that's awesome.
And I'm grateful for that. I mean, lessons and costumes and that's expensive. They set aside resources, they set aside time
Yeah.
to make my dreams happen. Suddenly I'm getting a call to play at a festival in New Mexico. They're like, "Well, someone needs to take off work and someone needs to get her there." I mean, they were great. So
Yeah.
they were not dream killers at
So
all.
they
They
weren't
really
dream killers and they weren't
no.
helicopter hovering stage moms.
No,
That's
not at
good.
all. In fact, there was a funny story about that when I remember I had a rehearsal at an Opry in Mount Pleasant, and I had to call. I needed to find out the sound check time and what are we doing? And my mom, she said, "You've gotta do it yourself." And she sat with me. We had a yellow pad and she helped me. We thought through and brainstormed the questions I needed to ask, but she said, "You need to pick up the phone and you need to call and you need to ask."
Man.
So even something, I'm 14 and needing to call adults and talk about sound check, and it was kind of intimidating, but
Yeah.
she said, "Hey, I'm right here. I'll help you, but you need to do it."
Yeah,
It
these
was great.
Gen Z kids can't pick up a phone and call anybody. They have to
Right.
hide behind a text or an
Right.
online form. What a good mom.
Yeah, she said, "No, you need to know how to do this." So,
Man. So where did you go to high school then?
Boswell?
At Boswell.
Mhm.
They didn't have an accordion in the band there, did they?
They did not.
So did you do band when you were in high school?
No, I really wanted to play the saxophone, but I think they didn't have a saxophone slot or something. So I said, "Well, I'll do choir."
Oh, okay.
I was in varsity choir and show choir. I
Oh,
loved that.
yeah, that's
Yeah, it was
cool.
great.
All right, cool. Um, so let's talk about playing out at nightclubs as a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid. Where did you play around town?
Drowning in blue light. It's messing with your melatonin and focus. Find your calm. Protect your vibe with Lucia Eyes.
Grab a pair at luciaeyes.com. We block blue light, not sleep. Use code YALLCAST for 20% off.
Where did you play around town?
So I played Big Balls in Cowtown in the
Mhm.
stockyards for sure.
Yeah.
And I was a kid. I released an album at 16, and that's where I did my album release show. It
Wow.
was so much fun. And I would meet all these great Western swing and country artists, and they would offer, "Hey, come sing with our band." So my parents would drive me up there, and of course they had to be in there with me.
Good. Yeah, because that was kind of my next question. Because I was in the nightclub business for a while and the
Mhm.
music business also, and there's traditionally some creepy people. So, did you all the time kind of have a chaperone with you or
Oh,
people that looked
yeah.
out for
I
you?
mean, as underage for sure.
Yeah,
I had a parent with me.
good.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Well, so you were telling me about this ongoing project you have with Mike Dillon. Can you talk about that? Is this your latest project that you guys have been working on?
One of them for sure. So Mike Dillon is just incredible.
Tell us who he is.
Sure. So I first met Mike years ago in Denton. I was in the band Brave Combo. And when Mike Dillon was in town, I mean, we were playing the Denton Arts Jazz Fest, and Carl says, "Hey, Mike Dillon's going to play with us on Sunday." And I'm super excited about it. Well, Mike went to UNT.
Hmm.
He has had and been part of so many bands through the years.
Like who?
Let's see, there was 10
Ten
Hands.
Hands,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
10 Hands, Critters, Buggin'. He played with Edie Brickell.
Yeah.
He's played with currently tours with Les Claypool,
Okay.
Flying Frog Brigade.
Wow.
He is Ricky Lee Jones' tour manager and in her band. And then he has his own projects all the time. He's got a band called Punkadelic, and I tour with them
Nice.
um sometimes. And then he and I started a project of our own called the Dixon Cousins.
The
And
Dixon
the
cousin?
Dixon Cousins, and
Okay.
we put out an album last year on vinyl called Argosy, but often I will join Punkadelic for a tour, and we will also play Dixon Cousins material, which is stuff that
So,
Mike and I wrote.
what type of music is punkadelic?
Very avant-garde.
Okay.
It's certainly has a punk rock element, but it's also just experimental
Okay.
jazz with a
Oh,
lot of
wow.
edge. Yeah.
So actual real musicians, not like these guys who pretend to do stuff and call themselves kind of a punk rock band. You
Oh,
guys are
yeah.
more than punk.
Wild. Nikki Glaspie is on drums. She's incredible. I mean, she tours with the Nth Power. She tours with
Wow.
Snarky Puppy. I can't talk. And then Punkadelic. Um, Brian Haas, and who's incredible on keys and just all things keys over there in his little like mission control synth and keys center. And plays with Jacob Fred Jazz Odyssey and then his own projects, Punkadelic. And so it's a
Wow.
really incredible super group of people. And then of course
Crazy.
Mike Dillon.
Fun. Super fun. So you've played with obviously all these guys and then Riders in the Sky, Asleep at the Wheel,
Yes.
festivals like Willie Nelson's and ACL. I bet you have a shit ton of stories. Do you have anything like from your favorite performance? What was like the most memorable, fun, wow moment?
Oh my goodness. I definitely think that in more recent years, an incredible honor was getting to play ACL Fest.
Yeah.
I played with Asleep at the Wheel, and I had some friends in the audience, and those friends captured all of these photos of my face really huge on this screen, and it was just it was wild to get to do I had never played that festival,
Yeah.
and then to get to be there and do that was
How many people were in the audience, you think?
oh, I'm terrible at gauging that. I have
Huge.
no idea, but it's a big audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would
Oh,
that
yeah.
be the biggest audience you played for?
Definitely up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say
So we were
that.
talking before about that energy, and I know having a part of my soul that's creative, when it doesn't get buttered or enough salve, it
Mhm.
gets angry and bursts through. It's so fun for me performing and seeing other people perform, the energy that you give out, and then what comes back from the audience. Tell me what that's like for you. Is that kind of addictive? Is that a drug for you?
Um, yes, is the short answer. So, I was actually talking about this with someone recently because I absolutely love to play music. I can't imagine I mean, there are other things I'm passionate about and I'm involved in other things, but I can't imagine my life without it. And part of the joy of that, of getting on stage, is that it's a symbiotic little game with
Hmm.
the audience. I mean, I can sit all day long and play in my room and that's fine. But if I'm on stage, it brings out an entirely different side of me. I get a little bit playful.
Yeah.
I show off.
Yeah.
It's fun. And I feel like being on stage is it allows an entirely different way of being authentic to come
Yeah.
out in me. Like when I've seen videos of myself do things I'm not aware of, like I'll
Really?
sit at the piano and cross my legs, and I'm like, "What am I doing?" But that's, I think, part of I can tell I'm really comfortable there,
Yeah.
and a lot of that is the interaction with the
Hard to
audience.
reach them
They're
gas pedals down there
yeah,
when you're
right?
cross-legged.
Right? But they're part of it.
Yeah.
It's totally a game and an adventure, and they're along for it too.
Well, what's funny is like I noticed from when I was younger doing performances, you'd see somebody in the audience and see like, "The- why do I have to be here? My wife dragged me to this thing." Do you ever get that where you see somebody with negative energy in the beginning? You're like, "Oh,
I'm gonna
I'm
change
gonna
this.
change this bastard.
Oh,
Watch."
oh yeah, you hone in on those folks. But
Does that give you more motivation?
for sure. Speaking to that, one of the funniest things, this used to be an inside joke with my brother and me, but the accordion kind of gets a bad rap,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
It's just a totally bad rap.
It's kind of weird and nerdy.
Yeah,
Not anymore.
and people tend to think of it as like it's loud and it honks and it's obtrusive. And
But
so
it's not
I would
bagpipes.
right. But I would have it on stage in the case, and when it was time to walk out and play, I'd unzip the case and I'd go to pick it up, and I'd turn to my brother and I'd go, "Worst part of my night, the reveal." As you turn around with an accordion, you can practically see people
Oh shit.
groan inside, like, "Oh no." And my favorite thing is changing their mind.
Yeah.
Because I'd have these people, it happens all the time still. They come up and they say, I never really have been a fan of the accordion, but
Up till now.
you've made me change my mind. That's
Yeah,
such a compliment.
it is huge because I had heard your music, but I hadn't seen you live. And then when I saw you, I was like, holy shit, that's amazing what you can do, because it didn't sound like the German polka, oompa oompa.
Right, right.
Wow, how fun. So uh creative process. So how I know for me what I need to do when I'm in kind of a creative process, one of the things I think I read about you was you do multiple versions of a song when you're writing. How does that work? And then do you ever have something that you've done and you go, oh, I got to change this. And then you do it and that's not as good. And then you go back. How does that work for you?
Sure. So I've been a songwriter since I was a teenager.
Mhm.
And I think that I got into this rhythm of thinking, well, I'll write a song and how it comes out is how it is. And that's the song. I mean, and it wasn't anything that I did really consciously. That was just the way it was. And then I met Ed Hamill on trial several years ago.
Who's Ed
And
Hamill?
So he's this incredible artist who's from New York. He lives in Austin now, but Camel on Trial is his artist name, and he's a great writer and just
He's a musician?
he's a musician.
Okay.
Yeah, he plays guitar and sings and is just incredible. It definitely worth a listen.
Checking him out.
Yeah,
He'll be in the
Camel
show
on
notes.
Trial. So he and I became friends. We did a few shows together, and I started talking with him about his process. And he said that he would do at least 25 drafts of a tune.
Wow.
And I thought, what? You don't just write it, spit it out. I guess it never occurred to me that editing was such a huge part of it. And I know that seems so obvious, but it really wasn't to me. Um, and then I started editing, really being heavier on the editing side with my songwriting, and it's improved it a lot. And so, um, and it's fun. It's kind of
Yeah.
a challenge to really get every word exactly the way that I want it. Um, and I don't know, I've just improved my writing. I'm happier with what I'm writing that now that I'm taking on that process.
So I don't know who said it. Maybe it was Hemingway said, write when you're drunk and edit when you're sober. Do you have do you get into like a creative space when you're starting? Do you have to have your certain light and your drink and your tea and the cat and the dog and whatever? How do you, when you decide as an artist? Because I know that's
Sure.
really challenging for a lot of people who are creative, is just getting down into that space where they can, like Rick Rubin talks about, getting into source
Sure.
or the muse.
Somebody challenged me at the beginning of this year to do a songwriting project where I would write a song a day. And I have not been sticking to it, but I really stuck with it for months and months and months. And it was difficult in the sense there's some days you really don't feel like doing it. But I found that if I did treat it more like a discipline, if I didn't wait for inspiration, if I
Mhm.
didn't wait for like, oh, I suddenly feel artistic and creative, um, to wake up and treat it like a job, that it actually yielded so much more creatively. Like even
So
if I
you
didn't
just
fit, there were
doing the
days,
work?
yeah, just doing the work. Even if I sat down, it was like, I don't feel like it today. And sometimes I would write something I loved when I
Mhm.
didn't feel like it. So the process is fickle. I
Yeah.
mean, it is. And when I learned this is the first year of my life where I'm starting to understand it that way. It's like, well, I can't wait for inspiration. Just do it.
So my daughter is really good at drawing and
Mhm.
she's into sculpting. And the most impressive thing about her is just every day she just sits down and farts around with it. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter if she's got her iPad and she's doing something, or she's listening to music and doodling, or even taking some of this modeling clay and just farting around with it. How did you do it as a kid? When did you decide that you, or Cowtown Opry, and you're improvising? When did you decide I can write something? I can sing something of my own.
So I was always kind of, even before I was taking music lessons, creating little melodies. I had a recorder and I would record myself. So I think music was always there. And it was, you know, when I got into lessons, it was very heavily encouraged by other family members, my parents. Everybody was ready to support that because I had it in me. Um, so I didn't really start writing. I mean, when I decided to write an album as a teenager,
You
that
wrote a whole
was
album as a
write
teenager.
an
Wow.
album. Yeah, that was when I started to think of it like as a concept. Okay, sit down and write songs.
What was the what was the positive feeling and the negative feeling?
Um,
The self-talk.
the really positive feeling, the first song I ever wrote was a kind of based on a true story. And so I had this
Tell me the
really.
true story.
Oh, okay. So my mom and I were driving through the Panhandle. I'm a kid, I'm like 15,
Yeah.
and this there was a cowboy on a horse riding alongside the highway, and he was really handsome. And so I
There you go.
shout
Good
to
looking
my
cowboy.
mom. I was like, "Stop the car." She's like, "What are you talking about? We're not you're a child, first of all.
Was
I'm
he a
not
man or a
He was
young?
a man. She's like, "I'm not stopping the car so my teenage daughter can flirt with a
With the
man."
Marlboro man?
I know, and so I wrote a song called "I Stop for Cowboys." And so the really positive feeling associated with it was I'm, I'm an artist
I
now.
can do
I'm
it.
writing about my
Yeah.
things that happened in my life. So it was really exciting. I guess if we were to say any negative feelings, maybe a little self-conscious, like you're kind of putting
Mhm.
yourself out there.
Yeah, it
And I
is.
remember being super excited. I wrote all these songs for this album and I had all my charts and I'm in the studio. And then when it comes time to actually, okay, print CDs and put it out, there was a little bit of that feeling like, what if nobody likes
Yeah.
it? Even as a kid, you maybe think those things like, oh
Well,
no.
I mean, every kid's thinking that, especially if
Yeah.
you're in like public school and
Puberty. You're like,
yeah, like I'm
oh
a
no one.
nerd and I got a giant pimple on my head and I'm playing this goofy box that makes these weird sounds. Did you
Yeah.
get harassed or teased or bullied or made fun of?
Yeah, I was teased a little bit, but I didn't really care.
Okay.
I mean, I just didn't care. I had an unusual childhood,
Well,
really.
so there's a lot of kids like I remember caring. I mean, I cared, what people thought too
Mhm,
much.
mhm,
And I know there's a lot of kids now that have anxiety and depression and all kinds of stuff.
mhm,
And these stupid demon boxes that we hold to our face all day long don't help.
mhm.
So, how did you have the strength to just not care? What did you do when you were a kid to just be like, were you forgiving or were you like, fuck you? Or
I
both?
mean, I was a kid that didn't really have a clique of friends. I was friends with
Okay.
everybody.
Yeah.
I was, like you always have the groups growing up,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I really had friends in all walks of life, all different kinds of people. And my childhood, most kids go out to the mall and to the movies on the weekend, back at that time with their friends. And I was like driving to Shamrock, Texas to play gigs,
Yeah.
street dances with like
S-
60-year-olds.
Swing festival with a bunch of
Yeah,
old people.
yeah. And so my reality was just really different. And I was getting paid to do it too. So I
Oh my
really
gosh.
didn't care
Yeah. I bet
what
that gave
anyone
you a
thought.
ton of confidence.
It did. I had a lot of confidence. I didn't have boyfriends, I didn't have anything, but I had music and friends, and I was, in a different city every weekend, and it was so much fun.
Yeah.
I really didn't care what anybody thought.
Who were your mentors? Who did you really look up to?
I looked up to my mentor from the Cats on Opry, Devin Dawson. She taught me a lot. She's a fabulous singer and guitarist, still around here in Fort Worth. And then I loved all the fellas that were playing with the Texas Playboys at that time. They were all my friends. And so Leon Roush,
Oh wow, cool.
Tommy Allsup, Bob Boatwright, Tom Morell, and I played music with them. I knew all their secrets, their stories, their histories, their
Would you catch
demons.
him on the tour bus doing some naughty stuff, or how did you know their secrets?
Zip.
Had a girl.
I'll put it in the movie.
Okay, good,
No.
good. All right, well, the tell-all book will come out sometime. So, what would like the top lesson you learned from your mentors? What would be the top couple lessons you learned,
Oh, wow. So,
especially about like being an artist and being creative?
yeah, so there were one of my mentors, he lives in Oklahoma. His name is Joe Settlemyers, and he's one of the last few living people who actually played with Bob Wills.
Wow.
But Joe's an incredible jazz guitarist and educator. But he gave me a couple of really good tidbits, and I've always held on to these. He said, never ask for anything, just play it cool. And the other thing he told me was surround yourself with the best. And I've just held on to that. And I really took that to mean so much more. I mean, it was beyond music. It was just meaning like surround yourself with really good people,
Yeah.
people that have your best intentions at heart and just strong, good souls. And I've really, really taken that to heart.
Can you unpack the first one? What did that mean? Never ask
Yeah.
for anything, just play it cool.
Well,
How do you implement that?
You know, I really just don't ask for things. It's like you can put yourself in situations to network and meet people that you want to meet, but to just never really come right out and ask for something.
Hmm.
I don't know how I it's almost it's super intangible and like way
Okay.
up there, but um I've sort of seen myself manifest things that I wanted by just not asking, but by knowing
Oh.
that I could that I all I had to do was show up and do exactly what I do.
Oh, I
And
see
like
what
I
you're
don't have
saying.
to ask. I don't have to ask for like I want to be on that or I wanted or can I have that or can I do that? I don't have to ask for that. You just
So you play it cool by being confident in who you are and doing your work, continuing to
let it
become
speak for
better. Let it
itself.
speak for itself.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Never ask.
So,
Because
well,
some people, there are some schools that thought they're like, ask for
well,
what you
I'm on the
want.
opposite side. I'm
Well, I
like,
mean, and I did, and in some cases,
that's how you're
yes.
here. I
Yeah.
bugged the shit out of you to get on here.
Yeah, but I really wanted to do this podcast and I didn't
Oh,
have to
there you
ask
go.
you.
So I read that energy. All right, good. So it works on both the yin and the yang.
It's symbiotic.
Okay, good. Good. Awesome. So we talked before. You said you're kind of an adventurous person, like skydiving and motorcycles and Krav Maga, and you had a motorcycle wreck. So where did that come from?
You know,
Because you don't seem like the kind of X Games adrenaline junkie type person,
right.
but I'm judging. So go ahead.
I think that a lot of that came from living the childhood that I lived, getting to travel and play music.
Yeah, I bet that was exciting.
Wow. I mean, the first tour that I ever put together, I was 18 and I brought because I had been traveling and playing, but my parents would take me, I'm a kid.
Yeah.
But when I was 18, I put together a tour that was myself, my 15-year-old brother, and we had a fiddler with us who's an incredible, like renowned player. He was in his 30s, but the three of us were gone for a month, just like took off in a van and toured all over the country.
Three of you
The three of
at
us.
18 and 15? No chaperone?
Well, we had a fiddler in his 30s.
Oh,
He
okay.
was, yeah,
So he was the big brother.
yeah,
Oh gosh.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess that is
But
pretty
that
exciting.
but that kind of childhood, I mean, that's what I think gave me that spirit. Even my mom, I hung out with my mom last night, but she said, "I could never imagine you'll hop on a plane and just get dumped off in a city and kind of just figure things out." Because if I don't I'm not I am a planner in some ways, but not always. I
Yeah.
know that, okay, I'm gonna land in San Francisco and then I've got to get to whatever. So I'll just figure it out. Whether it's like rent a car or catch an airport,
Yeah.
I don't worry about anything.
Okay, that's a really, really good point to transition to. How do you not worry? Because there's a lot of anxiety in these kids out there. Even me, I worry about shit all the time. How do you mentally, emotionally, physically, somatically not worry? Are you on
Um,
Xanax?
no, no, I don't take anything. Um, no, it's again, I think it comes from I grew up when I didn't have a little black box in my face and I
Yeah,
didn't have you couldn't just like Google Maps to
right.
things.
Yeah, you had a north, south, east, and west.
I mean, you had that
Yeah,
and I would do entire tours with a giant big physical map
yeah.
in the back seat that we had mapped out routes. And sometimes you would be driving and realize a road was closed because this map was printed a year ago and you got to figure it out.
At 18 years old.
Yeah. So, and I'm not saying that the younger generation's doomed, but I think that it is smart to get back to, try
Analog.
yeah, go analog, baby,
Mhm.
because it I think and I've struggled with anxiety in my own life. I'm not, I've not always been cool as a cucumber. It's come in waves.
Yeah.
There have been times when I've struggled really, really badly with panic attacks and anxiety.
Well, okay, so this
Yeah.
is even better. Now we're getting
Yeah.
deep into the dirt here. So you weren't always
Oh.
like this. You struggle with
Oh.
anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Sure.
What was so obviously you've done some work because now you're cool. What did you figure out was the primary or secondary causes of the anxiety?
I think that when I look at that period of my life and I went to therapy, I've
Mm,
worked through a lot of that I pinpointed whenever it felt that the way I was living or things that I was doing went against my gut feeling of what I was supposed to do.
okay.
And and that could mean a lifestyle change. Even just if I was dabbling in something I shouldn't have been doing, if I was like drinking too heavily
Yeah.
or partying or
Yeah.
neglecting something important, or if I was neglecting my finances, or I mean, I would just have these panic attacks and I couldn't, if it was something that was important to me that I was neglecting, is when it would affect me mostly.
So do you feel like the anxiety was this alarm call to stop
Yeah.
neglecting that?
Yeah, that the panic attacks, because what is it really? It's your body in fight or flight.
Mhm.
Your body perceives some danger.
Right.
And there's no bear coming after you, so what is it? So I think that it was an internal alarm going like, "Hey, you need to pay attention to this, or you're not, you're not doing something that's, you need to be true to yourself." Whatever it was, something important to me. It's like, am I living the way I deem is right for me? And if I wasn't, that alarm
So
was
you
there.
had this kind of core authenticity that maybe you weren't aligned with, and
Mhm.
you kept bumping up against that, and
Yes.
that would flare up the anxiety.
Yes.
What's the number one trick you did to stop the panic attacks?
To stop them. Um, I've tried so many different things. One thing for sure that helped me personally is just when you just get down to substances. It like alcohol was a big
Mhm.
that can be a problem. And
Sure.
even if you wouldn't even have to be drinking much,
Right.
but I realized, and that could have just be age, hormones,
Mhm.
anything, that if I drank the next day, my anxiety was worse.
Yeah.
So if I was already struggling with something in my life, I thought, okay, cut out this thing, this altering substance. And that was just one thing for me. That
Yeah.
might not work for everybody, but if I cut that out and I'm purely dealing with my problem with nothing altering me,
Yeah.
then how do I face this? And again, part of that came down to saying like, well, what is it that's bothering me? Am I bothered that I've neglected something in my life that's good for me? And even something like preparing my gigs ahead of time, that's really important to me. It's like
Mm.
to sit down and think of material that I want to do mindfully. And if I don't do that and I'm scrambling the day of,
Yeah.
that kind of, it shakes off my whole sense of balance. And so being able to pay attention to those things, keep them in check, is what helps me balance that personally.
So, substances can
Mhm.
trigger something that's already there, so you eliminated that. What
Mhm.
did you do? Because you seem really, really well managed in your brain right now. And I know when I've had anxiety in the past, obviously you go out drinking the night before and you drink too much coffee or you have a stupid Red Bull. The next day your body's completely polluted, and no wonder you're having an anxiety attack. But for me, a lot of times there's this weird message playing that is feeding that anxiety. What did you do to counter that self-talk? Did you have any of that negative
Oh
self-talk?
my gosh.
Drowning in blue light. It's messing with your melatonin and focus. Find your calm. Protect your vibe with Lucia Eyes.
Grab a pair at luciaeyes.com. We block blue light, not sleep. Use code YALLCAST for 20% off.
Did you have any of that negative
Oh
self-talk?
my gosh. Awful.
Yeah.
The spiraling. So I will have doubts about
Mhm.
myself.
Yeah, especially being an artist.
Oh my gosh, it's horrible. And sometimes, I mean, it can be great to reach out to a friend,
Okay.
just I've got a couple of really close friends that know I struggle with that.
Yeah.
And and sometimes as simple as a quick text like, "Would you have any time to chat today?" or
Oh,
"Could we chat?" And we kind of know that that's code word for like, okay, maybe she's dealing with something. And then, okay, let me call you in an hour. And even I watched this really cool video where a guy was talking about the science behind that. It takes the average human brain about 8 minutes to come down off a spiral. So he was saying that he and another friend had this code word that they'd say, "Do you have 8 minutes?"
oh,
And then
I've
that
heard that.
friend would know, okay, this person, okay, I've got a meeting, let me call you in an hour. And then all they needed to do was talk through something and they would kind of come off the spiral. And so talking through it for sure can
Mm.
help me. But if
So
I'm by
reach
my,
out,
yeah,
talk.
reaching out, talking about it, even just a few minutes can
Don't let
help.
it internalize.
That's hard.
So what do you do if there's nobody to chat with right there? What do you tell yourself?
Yeah,
All right, what
I
do you
have
tell
to.
yourself now? And what would you go back to your 13, 14-year-old self who's really insecure?
Mhm.
What would you tell your 13, 14-year-old self to say to yourself?
One thing for sure is to disrupt the thought, and that's so hard because you're by yourself and you're having this negative thought spirals like I'm not good enough, I'm this, I'm that, I'm whatever it is, I'm pitiful, whatever the thought
Mhm.
process is, to disrupt that with some kind of joy. So one thing that I started doing is I would like hop in my car and go or go out to the trails. I would just take a walk and
Get
that
movement
and get
going.
movement. And that can be any number of things. It can be a bike ride, it can be,
Mhm.
anything. But my thing was to disrupt it, go to the trails, take in nature, and just
Get
change the
out,
scenery.
get outside, change the scenery, and keep moving.
Mhm.
So when I was younger and I'd have panic attacks, I'd go for a run because your heart and your mind can't differentiate between the panic attack and exhausting yourself by exercising. So that's what I used to do. That's
Mhm.
really, really great advice. Can we shift back now, back to
Sure.
music? Thank
Yeah,
you for that. I know there's a
of
lot of people
course.
that are going to benefit from that. So, what are your plans for the future now? I mean, this is like your full-time life.
It is. It's my life.
That so cool. I mean, you have like made it to where you are now doing your art for your life. What's on the
Yeah.
future?
So, I love the accordion, but right now I've been very focused on the piano.
Co-
And that's okay. The accordion's still a part of my life, but um I'm finding that um my favorite thing is to play with my full band on a piano. I'm writing so much, so lots of original music. My favorite thing is to put together a little 1 or 2 set concert and have evenings of song and stories. And I'm not reinventing the wheel. It's nothing new, but I think that I'm finding myself there, I'm shining there,
Yeah, you are.
and people are asking for it more.
Yeah.
And so I'm listening to that too. I'm listening to myself and I love it, and I'm listening to people ask for it, and I'm just finding all the ways to make that come together. So as far as like what I'm building, just locally, because I still travel and play a lot. But in DFW, I've found some great spots to do that and to curate something special. And that's what I'm working on right now.
So, you started out as a little kid. Are you now giving back? How are you passing the torch of these Texas traditions? I mean, like, you're now, I mean, you look like you're 20, but you've been doing it for a while. So, what are you doing to pass the torch to some of these younger kids to even get them interested?
So that's very important to me, and thank you for talking about that. I've had opportunities to teach at music camps. Any opportunity that I get to go in and perform at a school assembly is important to me. I love it because I think this is how I started. There could be one kid out here that
Yeah.
that decides to learn an instrument today because of this. And I'm actually seeking more opportunities to do that. And I don't know what that looks like yet. Um, I love teaching camps. I really don't teach regularly anymore. It doesn't work with my schedule, but music camps and school assemblies. I've done some lecture series as well on
Oh,
like
cool.
Western swing history, and those were all ages and open to the public. But I'm seeking more chances to do that
Okay.
because it it is important. I have a 5-year-old niece, and it's super important to me to watch her, you know, grab her fiddle and come hang out and want to jam with us. And I think that music is incredible. Even if kids don't want to do it like I do for a living,
Yeah.
just being a part of music as a hobby, as something
Music, yeah.
positive. Yeah.
Music is crazy. I mean, it can
Mhm.
take you back to a time when there was something crazy going on or something fun, or it can
Mhm.
lift you out. Like last week when I saw you, I was kind of in a funk and I saw you guys play and I'm like, shit, I'm in a great mood now. It really changed me. And so, um, on your writing, so you kind of had a little bit of a love and heartache and shifted into fun and fanciness. What are you writing about now? What are you commenting on musically?
Yeah, I'm definitely in a phase where I'm just not in the love and heartache phase right now,
Good.
and that's writing wise. It's just not wanting to do that, and I want to write more about. I've been writing about like events that happen or situations or characters.
Mm.
I like to read about real characters in history, and they inspire songs, so that's been kind of happening a lot. But I guess it takes after I've been a part of some music more recently where this is the way people were writing, and that's also inspiring me because I'm like, okay, like one of my favorite bands in the whole world. If you've known me for 5 minutes, I will probably talk about Steely Dan. And Steely Dan is notorious for never writing a love song. Like the
Yeah.
closest maybe is Pearl of the Quarter.
Yeah.
And I like to say any major dude will tell you is a little bit of a love. It's more of like a comforting your friend kind of love song, telling you, bro, the world's gonna be all right. But they don't write a love song. I
Yeah.
mean, they write about characters and
Yeah.
in a universe of
Yeah.
like debaucherous degenerates, and I love that.
We like
Um,
them degenerates.
oh, I
Yeah.
do. Like, oh yeah, write about characters and places and situations and people and build a whole universe. And I love that they've done that. So anyway.
You seem like you're happy by choice. You just have a lot of joy. And I really, because like you said, that unveiling and unpacking the, oh shit, here's the accordion moment. But when I saw you get up there, it's like there was a tiny shift and suddenly you just played from a place of joy. You can really see this coming out of you.
It's literally a choice.
It is. I was just going to say, how do you keep making that choice? What do you do? What do you say to yourself to make that choice?
Oh man. Well, and it's so hard some days. I
Mm?
mean, like, come on. Some days are rough. Like we have a bad day. Um, but I'm like one of my recent bad days was so funny. I drove to Turkey, Texas. I was super excited to get it. Like my family has a house there.
Where
I
is
w-
Turkey, Texas?
the
It's
Panhandle.
in the Panhandle.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was so ready to go out there, and I get to Estolene. You still got another 30 miles to get to Turkey, and my car starts acting up. And it
Of
was
course.
almost a year to the date that my motor died in
Oh, no.
2024, and I replaced it, right?
Oh, no.
And then the same thing starts happening, and I'm going, "Oh, hell no." And I get to Turkey, and I just know that the motor has died again. And I'm 4 hours from home,
Oh,
and I'm,
shoot.
like, in Turkey. But seriously, I made it there, left the car, got settled into the house, and Blue Monday with Mike Buck was about to come on Sun Radio, and I went out, sat on my porch with a snack, and listened to Blue Monday,
Okay.
looking at that dead, dumb car. And then I'm not kidding, you can't make this up. The Allsup's parking lot's out there, and a chicken is staring at me, walks over, jumps up onto my fence, jumps in the tree right above me, and just listens to Blue Monday with Mike Buck. as the sun goes down. And I just thought, this was absolute pure hella joy. I mean, I'm not even going to worry about this car. I'm just going to take in this great moment. Like I'm listening to a killer radio show. There's a chicken in my
The
tree.
funky chicken is there.
Like you got to laugh
Yeah,
at life.
that's so awesome.
They're seriously good in, I mean, even something like that. And it was terrible, like, okay, now I have to buy a car. Now it's like,
Yeah,
none of that's fun. But there was a lot of wild joy that came out of that moment.
wonderful. Okay, so traveling with musicians, traveling with your brother and a fiddle player, I'm sure you ran into some crazy, creepy dudes. I know when I was in the nightclub business, there are a lot of really cool people, but then some not so cool people. And you're like super young, super gorgeous. I bet you had some tough times with some weirdos. How did you handle that?
You know, um, my daddy's words are always in my ears, even to this day. I mean, I'm a grown woman, and my dad, I just talked to him a couple days ago on the phone. He always tells me, hey, remember, watch your back, keep your eyes open. It's just something he's always reminded me since I was a kid. I was in Sonoma County a week and a half ago. He says, watch your back, be careful. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that it's not to scare me. It's not anything.
Mm,
It's really something that I would tell anybody. I would tell a 50-year-old woman. I'd tell a 14-year-old girl. I mean, you've got to be careful out there. And I definitely encountered people through the years. There's so many good people out there, of
mm,
course,
yeah.
but you have to watch your back. And as a kid, as a teenager, I would meet characters along the way sometimes. Um, and when you're 15 or 16 and a 30-year-old man wants to hang out with you,
It's a little weird.
it's at the time you feel cool. You're like, "Oh, I'm cool."
Oh,
No, there's
yeah. You want to
probably
fit in,
there's probably something
ulterior.
funny.
Yeah.
Especially if it's not in a group of people or something,
Oh,
it's just being aware that those kinds of things pop up. And I think that young people, we have instinct. Like
oh, gut feeling. Yeah.
we don't have experience, but we have our gut feeling. And I think that if I were to look back at my 15-year-old self, it's to say follow that. It's okay. The things that your parents tell you, the things that, to watch out and be careful, that's real. And when you're 15, 16, and somebody's steering you in a direction, or they want to offer you this beer or something, and you think, oh, it's cool, it's fun, I want to fit in. It's actually really okay to be like, I shouldn't do this, and this person shouldn't be offering this to me.
So I remember kind of doing some work and talking myself through anxiety. And I used to go to swimming lessons.
Hmm.
And the first swimming lessons we went to were in a tiny little pool in somebody's backyard. It was warm. The people were nice. The next one we went to was at a high school pool. It was cold, too much chlorine, big deep end, scared the hell out of me. And I'd always get this stomach, like my stomach would hurt. And
Uh-huh.
like I figured out that was anxiety.
Hmm.
And I remember being a kid and having that anxiety, same feeling come up in weird situations like you're talking about with creepy people.
Hmm.
How how did you identify that as a young kid? And then what did you do to just be like, no, thanks?
Hmm.
Especially when you want to be involved and it's some cool musician. And how did you, what did you do to kind of stay safe?
One of the things that helped me, I was lucky that I had my brother touring with me. So my brother was younger. He's 3 years younger, but he kept an eye on me. And I think that helped. He was younger, but it was like he had to chaperone, his
Yeah.
sister. I was maybe more vulnerable in some ways.
Well, he's a
Being
man. And so
Yeah,
he knows the man feelings, young man.
right.
So he knows what guys are trying to.
Yeah. So that helped me stay safe just because he kept an eye out. but I did a lot alone too. And I think that, again, my daddy's words, just being able to be aware and understand, you can go into the world with like a loving, pure heart, but understand everyone does not have the same intentions that
Yeah.
you do. And you just have to protect yourself. Um, and walk into the car and carrying your gear at night alone is a little
Yeah.
scary. There are things you can just do.
Yeah.
You can ask someone to walk with you. Can you walk with me? Or the club owner will stand at the door and watch you get in and you're safe. And I
Yeah.
mean, there are little things that you can definitely do, but even just on an instinctive level, I say to just listen to that, because anytime I ever went against it, if I thought, oh, it's just me being silly or me being finicky,
Paranoid. Yeah.
right? But it's real.
Yeah. Especially as a young kid. And I think Rick Rubin in his book wrote that artists have to express themselves. I'm butchering the quote, because they feel more deeply. And I think that kind of resonates with being in tune, and you can tune into what's good and what's bad. And a lot of people don't have that. And I think these phones kind of deplete that.
Mm.
So, what were like the couple, one or two identifiers where like your spidey senses would go off? What were the feelings or thoughts that would come through your head?
With my spidey sense,
Yeah.
um, that I that I was just with someone that wasn't safe. Like it
Didn't feel
even
safe.
if that person maybe wasn't going to hurt me. Because I've had spidey sense about people. Maybe I didn't think they were going to physically harm me, but that their thoughts, or that something about maybe their intentions or what they wanted didn't align
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah. Just
Um,
didn't feel
it
right.
just didn't feel right.
Like putting on wet socks.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, especially as a woman, I mean, and I'm not trying to just say this is only men, it's not, but I have been in situations with, say, a man where maybe this was a kind person that didn't want to hurt me, but maybe wanted something, maybe wanted to kiss me or wanted to, and I can feel that.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. And
Yeah.
so understanding that, okay, now I'm in this situation, it being able to listen to yourself to avoid those kinds of things. It's not always easy, but it's real. So when you feel it, to follow it.
Yeah. I tell my daughters, don't be afraid or ashamed to tell somebody no, and don't be afraid to tell somebody to fuck off.
Oh yeah.
I'd rather have you like have somebody mad at you than have you tied up in a freaking trunk of somebody's car.
100%.
Let them, you be embarrassed a little bit. Let them be pissed off at you. Perfect mistake to make. Call dad.
Mm-hmm.
We'll handle it.
Yes. Yes. Do not be afraid.
Do not be afraid. I was going to ask you a question about being scared, but I don't want to do that. I want to end it on this joyful moment.
Okay.
I'm really so grateful you came here, and I'm so glad to get to hear your story. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who get a lot of benefit from you.
Oh, well,
Where-
thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
thank you. Where can everybody find you?
So a really great central location on the interwebs is GinnyMac.com. That's just GINNYMAC.com. Gin like the drink, Mac like the computer, as I like to
Ginny
say.
Mac.
GinnyMac.com. And I'm also on social media. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and I dabble in trying to figure out TikTok. I'm so old. But anyway, I know. And then just all streaming services. I mean, you can find my music if you just pop in my name.
Ginny Mac
Ginny Mac.
is a detective down in Texas. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you, and I want to keep in touch and find out what's going on with you in the future.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being on the
Joy.
YALLCAST. Bye, y'all.
YALLCAST disclaimer. Welcome to YALLCAST, where opinions are strong, the coffee is stronger, and absolutely nothing you hear should replace your doctor, lawyer, therapist, or your grandmother's advice. Everything you see or hear here on the podcast, videos, live streams, all of it is for entertainment and information purposes only. The thoughts and opinions you hear belong to whoever is talking and not necessarily to YALLCAST, our partners, affiliates, sponsors, or the great state of Texas. We try to get things right, but hey, like you, we're human, and all information provided is as is, with no reps, warranties, guarantees, and definitely no refunds if you take it too seriously. So if you make a life decision based on this show, we hope it's a good one, but that's on you. Nothing here counts as medical, legal, financial, or relationship advice. If you need that, please go talk to a professional. Sometimes we shout out to brands or products. Most of the time, that's just conversation, but yes, occasionally it's stuff we use every day and genuinely love. YALLCAST and everyone involved here are released, indemnified, and held harmless from whatever happens next. We're just here to make you think, laugh, and maybe question blue light or your Wi-Fi connection. So listen smart, laugh loud, and remember, if you're looking for legal or medical advice, you're on the wrong podcast.